Ah yes, Naruto. One of the, if not the most popular show out there. Whether you like it or not, nobody can deny how good the action animation for this show was. I mean, some people can. Go over to Twitter, you'll find a lot of people who simply hate everything. But as far as normal people are concerned, most agree that the action scenes in Naruto are really well put together for the most part. In this video, we'll discuss, or rather break down, Naruto's mostly incredible action animation. And yes, I'll talk about the pain fight. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Now, Naruto features many different styles of animation, and a common thread running through all of these different styles is the amazing choreography. I mean, I wouldn't really call the pain fight well choreographed in the traditional sense, but you get my point. The choreography in Naruto is quite grounded for a show which features multiple instances of characters airdropping meteors on each other. The hand-to-hand combat in this show is really impressive. A lot of effort went into the choreography department. Naruto's action animation can mainly be divided into three different styles. One of them is Norio Matsumoto's extremely fluid and energetic animation, which dominated a lot of the original Naruto series. Another style is Hiroyuki Yamashita and Naoki Kobayashi's well choreographed and relatively rougher animation. And of course, there's Shingo Yamashita and Kenichi Kutsuna's visual LSD. Let's start off with Norio Matsumoto's work. He's responsible for a lot of iconic scenes from the original 2002 iteration of this series, including most of the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke. And from a technical point of view, his works are extremely impressive. The sequences animated by him are really fluid and they manage to carry a ton of weight. He twists the human anatomy to its utmost limit. His works pretty much started the whole don't pause Naruto meme. He prioritizes the overall flow of the scene instead of the individual drawings, since the overall product isn't meant to be paused in the first place. Please stop pausing fights and comparing them to their corresponding manga panels. That is a very stupid thing to do. The characters often twist into unnatural and extremely energetic arcs, which makes the product look so good in motion. The keyword there is motion. It's not about the individual frames. His works are absolutely incredible. These sequences from so long ago still hold up to this day. In fact, they are more impressive than most of the modern action animation out there. It's amazing how impactful his animation feels despite the fact that he never uses any actual impact frames. He doesn't overdo it with the effects animation either. Him animating the characters is good enough. He doesn't need to rely on any smoke and mirrors. He doesn't need to spam impact frames every 5 seconds, and his works don't need every digital effect known to man. Just some good old character animation is more than enough. His mastery of the human anatomy is simply unreal. I feel like aspiring animators can learn a lot just by studying his works. I'm sure a lot of them already do. Most of the visual highlights from the original Naruto series were handled by Norio Matsumoto. Of course, he has worked on Naruto Shippuden as well. And speaking of Naruto Shippuden, this is where animators such as Naoki Kobayashi and Hiroyuki Yamashita come in. Their works include more modern elements such as cubic debris and several types of flares. These scenes don't have the ridiculous fluidity that Matsumoto's works do, but they are just as well choreographed. The iconic Kakashi vs Obito fight, as well as the Madara vs an entire army fight, featured animation by Naoki Kobayashi and Hiroyuki Yamashita. I still can't get over the choreography, it's so good. Every strike, every block, every counter is so well laid out visually. Everything makes sense. A one-on-one fight is not that difficult to follow, while a one versus many fight is visual chaos. That's the way it should be. Despite having a modern look, these fights carry a ton of weight and impact. A lot of modern fans seem to think that characters flying across the screen at 100 miles per hour is all there is to action animation, and that's not true. Sure, some animators use a floaty style to their advantage, Keiichiro Watanabe being a good example, but generally speaking, action animation is all about the weight and the impact. You can feel the hits, the force behind every strike is conveyed really well. They use aggressive smears and an all-around rough look to get the impact across, which is somewhat different from Norio Matsumoto's approach. These fights also feature a lot of camera work, which is quite impressive. This style of animation is not as distinct as Matsumoto's works, but it's extremely good looking regardless. And that brings us to Shingo Yamashita's animation, which is the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. Remember the fight between Naruto and Pain? Well, he animated a lot of it. All those controversial scenes that people love to argue about are done by him. Of course, he wasn't the only animator involved. The fight was animated by 3 people: Shingo Yamashita, Kenichi Kutsuna, and Norio Matsumoto. Now, why is this fight so controversial? Well, the answer is simple: because it looks different. There's a group of people who know very little about animation, and according to this group, anything that looks different and doesn't look like a basic cookie cutter anime is poorly animated. They are the same people who think that the character acting in Chainsaw Man is bad animation, and they are the same people who think Onodera Ren's cut in Boruto looks bad. So is this fight well animated? Yes, very much so. Anybody who has any amount of animation knowledge will give you that exact same answer. The fight starts off with Shingo Yamashita's animation, and in a way, it's similar to Noria Matsumoto's approach. Yamashita prioritizes the overall motion instead of the individual drawings, just like Matsumoto does. However, he takes it a step further. Matsumoto's animation always maintained a minimum level of anatomical consistency. Not saying every frame he drew was anatomically correct, but they only went so far. Yamashita looked at that and scoffed. If I had to sum up his work, or this entire fight in one word, bold would be my pick. The iconic pain face, the Looney Tunes like running animation, the unique movement, this fight was extremely creative all around. One thing people don't talk about much is the effects animation. This fight contained a ridiculous amount of effects which must have been hell to draw. Also, let's talk about the background animation. The fight featured a ton of it. This background animation got the speed across quite well. So, is this fight flawless? No, I do have a problem with it, although it's nothing too significant. I don't like how some of the background is detailed and some of it is not. If you are going to remove all the detail and textures from the background, go all the way with it. Some of the background lacking detail while the rest of it is filled with all sorts of textures is really off-putting. It causes a visual whiplash. Why remove the detail in the first place, you may ask? Well, it's a common technique. 2D background animation is very difficult and time-consuming. To counter this, detail is often removed and the background is broken down into simple shapes, which makes the process of animating the background a lot more convenient. Not drawing the background, animating it, making it move. I found some of the background animation to be a bit jarring, but that's it. The fight is perfect otherwise. The bold and unique approach is something that I love. The episode this fight was from was directed and storyboarded by Atsushi Wakabayashi. The fight was animated by Shingo Yamashita, Kenichi Kutsuna and Noria Matsumoto. Their collective creativity and effort gave rise to this visual spectacle. And don't forget, Naruto is not a niche anime. It's ridiculously popular, and it was really good to see that this popularity didn't stop the staff from doing something different. Sure, there's a chunk of fans who hate the animation style, and I get it. It's fine if this style isn't your cup of tea, but if you think the animation itself is bad, you are simply incorrect. The animation throughout the pain fight was simply phenomenal. Of course, Naruto had a large episode count, and it was a long-running show. Naturally, only a few episodes featured any noteworthy visuals, but when the animation team went that extra mile, the output looked absolutely stunning. So that was it. What's your opinion on the pain fight or Naruto's animation in general? Comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time.